Here it comes. Called strike three, and Schwarber is thrown out of the game, and he had zero issue with getting thrown out. Making it very clear, you've missed him inside, outside, up and down. Kyle Schwarber thrown out.
The most frustrating thing in baseball. Your team getting struck out or missing a strikeout due to a bad call from the umpire. We all know this feeling all too well, but thankfully a fix is on the way, the ABS challenge system. To start, we have to know what ABS does, as this is a new technology in the MLB. ABS stands for automatic ball strike, as it is used to call balls and strikes. Originally, the plan was that it was going to be used for every single strike call, but the committee was worried that it could help remove the job of the home plate umpire and get rid of framing for catchers. So instead, the MLB gave the teams and players 2 to 3 challenges to try and change a ball or strike call, with the players being the batter, pitcher, and catcher, all three being able to challenge. Managers are not allowed. ABS uses Hawkeye technology, the same technology used by VAR in soccer, to see where the pitch goes in terms of whether it was a ball or strike. When it was used in spring training, they used about 8 cameras spread around the field, and at the Diamondbacks and Rocky stadiums, which are larger than most, there are about 12 of them around the ballpark. Another thing that ABS does is that it changes the strike zone to the batters, no matter what their height is. Jose Altuve and Aaron Judge, of course, do not have the same strike zone. It will change based off their height. However, when you're doing that on TV, that's not the case. When you look at those strike zones, they do not change, but the actual ABS will when it is implemented. Meanwhile, the MLB is trying to get to the point of using it in a regular season game. It was the KBO, or the Korean Baseball Organization, that had been the first league to use it for a regular season game.
The 0-2. Fastball a little bit outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and here is our first challenge. So John Hicks has challenged the last pitch from Lewis Head. And on the video board in left field, the crowd's trying to figure out what's going on, and that looks like a strike.
ABS has been used in AAA baseball since 2022, with about 60% of their games being used, and now it's going to be used heavily in every single game in AAA this 2025 baseball season. The league will get this information to make a final decision on whether it should make its debut in 2026 in the majors. However, we did see the MLB use it for their games in 2025. This spring training, we saw the Cleveland Guardians use it for 27 of their spring training games, while most other teams use it for 10. They wanted the MLB players to get a feel for it when it comes to their decision in 2026. The MLB wants to use this technology for many reasons. One reason is a bad call can change the game for the player and viewers alike. As a player, the average at-bats they get in the game is 3, and as a person who used to play baseball, the worst feeling as a baseball player is getting a strike call. I believe it was a ball, and it's the same thing for a viewer of a team or a fan of a team. It sucks that a player or coach can have no way to change a ball or strike, but they can change a call on everything else from plays at first, home run calls, everything like that. And when it was used in spring training, people loved it. I personally saw it during a Syracuse Mets AAA game last fall and thought it worked wonderfully. Didn't add much time to the game. I thought it was very good. It helps the umpires too. If they make a mistake, it can be reviewed and fixed because everyone is not perfect. Umpires are humans too. I used to be an umpire back in the day. Obviously Little League, small scale, but you know, there was calls where I was like, I made the wrong call there. People would yell at me and I was like, I wish I could get that one back. Umpires definitely feel the same way, and I'm glad the system can help them out and also relieve some stress from them. To really understand the effects of ABS, you gotta understand how it affects the actual game. Like I mentioned before, the players like it so far, as it gives baseball a little more strategy to the game. You know, managers will be like, hey, now that they're getting a taste for it, they can start building strategies around it. Like, hey, don't use it early in games, don't use it early in counts, save it for strike 3 calls, change it for the 9th inning, save it for when we're down. If we're up big, don't use them. You know, little strategies like that that players and managers can discuss and know when to use it. Managers obviously cannot challenge calls themselves, but they can, you know, instruct their players on when to use them. Some players might want to use their challenge early, but others might want to save them. Manfred said in an interview that he still needs the players' opinions with it because it can ruin pitch framing and the MLB. You know, you get good guys who are good at framing, like historically Yadier Molina, guys like that who, you know, get their pitchers the benefit of the doubt. I think with the challenge system, if you keep it to 3, you could still keep pitch framing in the game. Obviously, you could get one reversed. That was, you know, not the best call because you did good framing, but I think with 3 and not doing full, I think framing will still be part of the league. Another thing that will help with the audience is if they're using the ABS, they'll show it on TV. Right now they use the K zone for MLB, which is good on TV. It looks good. People will be like, oh, it's a ball or strike, but they don't actually know that a lot of the time because it's not adjusted for player height. Like Altuve and Judge have the same strike zone, which is simply not true on the current K zone on TV. So a lot of people will complain about called strikes or called balls, but they're actually strikes or balls. And I think this gives the umpires a little bit more benefit of the doubt with fans, and I think also builds rapport, between the fans and the game. And I think people are more likely to have an enjoyable experience watching and be continued fans for a long time, which is obviously the goal from the MLB's organization perspective. And of course, in general, you have to look at this technology from the sports business perspective of the MLB. There's a few different factors you have to look at. You have to look at with the sport business and how it's evolving internally with technology and replay reviews and rapidly evolving in sports. FIFA started this trend with the sport business of rapid replay systems with the implementation of VAR in 2016. This technology gives us insight into the impact that this technology will have on sports business because it will correct wrong calls and greatly reduce the frustration of bad calls and fans, creating a more pleasurable viewing experience and creating more revenue by creating long-time fans. The other side of this you have to look at is the growth of the sports betting business. Whether you like it or not, sports betting is an immense part of the sports industry now, and an unbelievable amount of money is invested in it yearly. So reducing the number of missed calls can make sites that have the sports betting allowed make the experience fair for everyone involved. You're not going to lose a bet because of a missed call. You're going to lose it because of whatever happened in the game. You shouldn't sports bet, just my opinion. But I think it should be fair regardless, and I think having, the most correct calls possible is very good for that. Overall, if I were to make a recommendation to the MLB, I think you should start implementing this thing in 2026, and I think you should have 3 challenges. I think it's a fair number of challenges that adds a layer of strategy to the game, which is a big thing for baseball fans, including myself. You love the strategy of the game, right? You love, when to use pinch runners, when to sub guys in, how long you're going to give a leash for your starter, lineups, constructing a lineup properly. It adds a whole nother layer to the game. When are you going to use your challenges? If you just believe you're right so much, will you just use it then? The strategy there. This works to reduce the number of bad calls by umpires, and it's a huge stress on umpires. If you make a missed call, you get the argument, you get the screaming in your face, managers, everybody in your face, and I think this is great for the umpires as well. It's not just for the hitters, pitchers, and batters. I think it's for everybody. The umpires will love it too. Minor league umpires have said to have liked it so far, talking to a few people who are working for minor league teams. Obviously, can't speak for everyone, but this consensus is out that umpires do like it. It's a lot of stress off their backs. No one wants to be the villain. All the umpires are just trying to do their job. It's a very hard job, as much as, people act like it's not. Umpiring is probably the hardest sport to referee of any, because you have to make a call every single time anything happens. There is no outcome that doesn't require a call. Some obviously obvious, pop outs, fly outs, foul balls. Well, obvious foul balls, but you have to make a call on every single play in baseball. It's hard to stay sharp for 27 outs or 27 plus if it goes to extras. So I think it's huge for the umpires, obviously huge for the viewers, less frustration, more enjoyment out of the sport. Batters as well, hey, I want extra at bats. I don't want to be struck out by bad pitches. Pitchers, hey, I got that one in there. Let me get my strikeout. I think it's just great for everyone involved, and I'm excited to see it used in the MLB starting hopefully in 2026, if not, hopefully soon thereafter. And I think the minor leagues have done a great job of implementing it. Thank you all for watching. This is the 4th quarter. I'm Jack Lee. Let me know in the comments, what you think. You think they should use this? You think they should wait? You think they should test it out more? Change the amount of challenges perhaps? Or even go to full ABS? Let me know down below. Always excited to hear your thoughts, and I'll talk with you about it. All right. Have a good one.